High Elves renamed themselves Blood Elves in honor of their fallen brethren during the siege of kael'thas in the Third War. Remember the Sunwell, a phrase often heard in WoW, is a rallying cry for vengeance. The phrase is also a tribute to the 90% of the Blood Elves who died by the evil hands of kael'thas and his mindless, ruthless scourge during the siege of kael'thas. And the word Sindorai means children of blood. Arthas' destruction of the Sunwell wiped out the Blood Elf source of magic. With the Sunwell obliterated, the Blood Elves suddenly realized, hey, we have an addiction. Their addiction was to magic, and unfortunately their health insurance didn't cover any kind of treatment. So they ended up dealing with some very serious pangs of withdrawal. In desperate need for a new source of magic, the Blood Elves decided to place their faith and their hopes in a young prince named kael'thas Sunstrider, who immediately attempted to join forces with the Alliance. Unfortunately for kael'thas Sunstrider and the Blood Elves, the Alliance still kind of held a lot of contempt over the Blood Elves' token support during the Second War. And the humans returned the favor this time. They offered a token support to the Blood Elves' plight against Arthas and the Scourge. Furthermore, the humans distrusted the Blood Elves largely as a result of their new addiction to magic, because you never know what an addict is going to do to get a fix. With nowhere else to turn, kael'thas Sunstrider did the unthinkable and accepted the help from Lady Vaj and the Naga. This new allegiance with the Naga kind of turned the humans' mistrust into bloodthirsty rage. Grand Marshal Garithos, yes, a dude with a 2400 RBG rating, placed a death sentence on every single Blood Elf in Azeroth, basically every single Blood Elf period. The Blood Elves then split themselves up into two groups. One group remained in Azeroth to fully reclaim and rebuild their homeland. The other group, led by kael'thas Sunstrider, ventured into Outland on a pilgrimage for a new source of magic. The fate of both groups couldn't have been more different. In spite of weary acceptance from the trolls, the Azeroth Blood Elves cast their lot with the Horde. Led by Captain Ahab, aka kael'thas Sunstrider, the Outland Blood Elves, obsessed with finding a new source of magic, basically found a new friend by the name of Illidan Stormrage. In return for sworn loyalty, Illidan taught kael'thas Sunstrider how to hunt down demons and siphon their mana. Ultimately, kael'thas Sunstrider betrayed Illidan and bonded himself with a bigger evil dude by the name of Kil'jaeden, the evil creator of the Scourge himself. Yes, Kil'jaeden. So that infuriated the Azeroth Blood Elves. A small faction of kael'thas Sunstrider's followers, known as Scryers, rejected his twisted methods and declared him an enemy who must be brought to justice. Eventually, the Azeroth Blood Elves ventured into Outland and instantly aligned themselves with the Scryers. So, the question is, how does all this Blood Elf lore relate to House Lannister? Good question, gonna get into it now. The Blood Elves are a borderline fascist society, which is amazingly ironic if you consider the vast number of similarities between the events of the Sunwell and the Holocaust. Tywin Lannister, the head, the patriarch of House Lannister, is a very authoritative as well as feared man. Matter of fact, he basically runs the family like a dictatorship. Like the Blood Elves, the Lannisters consider themselves noble birth. They are from noble birth, which often permeates in their arrogance and their pompous attitudes towards others. Like the Blood Elves, the Lannisters are jingoist by nature and therefore distrust all races outside their own borders. Matter of fact, Cersei Lannister says it perfectly right here.
A good king knows when to save his strength and when to destroy his enemies.
So you agree? Starks are enemies.
Everyone who isn't us is an enemy.
The Blood Elves dress in red, gold, and black to remind themselves of the Sunwell. Red, gold, and black also happen to be the primary colors of House Lannister. The Lannisters are very much addicted to something called power, and the Blood Elves are addicted to magic, similar addiction there. The Lannisters lost their sovereignty to the Targaryens at the Battle of the Field of Fire, when 55,000 Lannister army men took on 10,000 Targaryens. However, the Targaryens had three little things called dragons, which greatly helped contribute towards their victory, hence the name, the Battle of Field of Fire. The Lannisters bent the knee to the Targaryens, much like the Blood Elves bent the knee to the Horde. Over the years, the wealth and power of House Lannister languished as a result of defending several rebellions against the Targaryens. At House Lannister's weakest point, House Rhaen, one of the Lannisters' bannermen, sought to take advantage of the situation and attempted to conquer the Lannisters. Titus Lannister, Tywin's father, nearly bent the knee to House Rhaen. However, Tywin, true to the House Lannister motto, "Hear me roar," literally obliterated Castamere, which is known as the Rhaen's almost impenetrable keep. All of House Rhaen was literally wiped off the face of Westeros, and Tywin, in turn, restored honor and power to House Lannister. One may recall the battle cry of the Rains of Castamere, a rather solemn yet melodic song about the Lannisters' great victory over House Rhaen. It's very similar to the battle cry of the Blood Elves, "Remember the Sunwell." And the unofficial motto of the Lannisters is, "A Lannister always pays his debts," which is a very similar unofficial motto of the Blood Elves, seeking revenge against Arthas and the Scourge for the destruction of the Sunwell. The Blood Elf capital of Silvermoon City is an absolutely gorgeous and rich, lavish place. The same can be said about Casterly Rock, although we haven't seen it yet in Game of Thrones. The Blood Elves and the Lannisters share the good old blonde hair, green eyes / blue eyes look, and Cersei, Jaime, and Joffrey, as you can see from the pictures throughout the video, there's a lot of similarities there. Now, the merchants of Westeros have been known to slightly raise their prices if and when a Lannister suddenly appears. Certainly Tyrion is paying more for his wine and ale than anybody else. The same can often be said about Blood Elves when they wander through Azeroth. The goblins have had a long history of raising prices as soon as Blood Elves step into town. Now, during Robert Baratheon's rebellion and other rebellions, the Lannisters often remained neutral. This is due to their high cost of usually defending the throne in earlier years. The Blood Elves embraced the same neutrality, only siding with the Alliance late in the Second War. Now, does the Lannister pride and arrogance best encapsulate the Blood Elves? What are your thoughts? Does another particular race in WoW best encapsulate the Lannisters? And what about the other races in WoW? The Worgen, the Undead, the Orcs, and the Dwarves. What house in Westeros, what house in Game of Thrones do the other races in WoW best encapsulate? Leave it in the comments. And thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. We will have more videos about what other races in WoW fit into and best encapsulate and describe the persona of the houses of Westeros. Worgen, Undead, Dwarves, Orcs. What houses in Game of Thrones do they best describe? Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.